name's Paula and I'm a play therapist, and I am currently hiding under a blanket in my playroom in my house. I am thinking about hide and seek and what it means for children and their development. And so I thought, what better way to do it than to play hide and seek? So I'm hiding here. Someone is out there looking for me. I've got a slightly wobbly feeling in my tummy. I feel like slightly excited, like slightly scared. I don't know how long I can keep up this feeling before I pop. But I've got a feeling as well that I've been here a while, and I think the person who is looking for me may have wandered off to do something else. So I may have to go out and investigate. So we're going to have a quick think about hide and seek and children's development. So I'll see you in a minute. So when we think about hide and seek with a securely attached child who's developing without any sort of obvious hindrances or obstacles, we look at how they work first through peekaboo as an infant, so just hiding behind their hands with their carer in sight, through to hide and seek, where they might be hiding just for a few moments or increasingly far away for longer. Hide and seek is an excellent opportunity to develop things like executive functioning. So executive functioning is what makes us unique among animals. It involves the prefrontal cortex, which is the front part of our brain, the most developed part, which is still developing in children. So that would be skills like emotional regulation. So you imagine the anticipation and excitement of being about to be found and managing to sort of control that. It involves things like self-control and impulse control, so that they don't blurt out, I'm hiding here, that they can kind of keep that to themselves. It involves things like planning, like where to hide, where would they fit, and flexible thinking like that. If they're looking with peers or siblings, it might involve some teamwork. There's a certain amount of bravery because of that being in a small space, a dark space, the micro moment of anticipation before they're found. It also involves an understanding of object permanence. So object permanence is something that infants start to understand, that like when they close their eyes, the world is still there, that things exist when you can't see them. And this is particularly important in attachment with their caregivers, because children need to come to understand that even when they can't see them, that their caregivers are still connected to them. And it is a really good practice for separation from their carers. So for peekaboo, it's just a second, and then the carer is there again, and it's very controlled by the infant. As children get older, obviously they spend more and more time away from their caregivers. So hide and seek is a really good way of practicing being connected, but not within eyesight, being separated from their carers. And it's also, to a certain extent, an opportunity to look at theory of mind, which is our understanding that what we think isn't what everyone else thinks. So small children have to learn that everybody can't see into their minds, that they won't know where someone else is hiding, and they won't know where they're hiding, and everyone's trying to work out what's going on. So these are all skills that are learned through hide and seek. So these are for healthy, developing children to learn. And we'll look in a minute at how to do good hide and seek. What is a recipe for good hide and seek? Essentially, hide and seek is a game of sort of build up, climax, and then discharge of energy. It should start in a place of safety and playfulness, maybe face to face with eye contact. We're playing at separation. So where peekaboo is starting with the face obstructed, and like, where's Billy? Where's Billy? And you often obviously know in hide and seek where they are. The separations can become longer as the children have more tolerance for delay. And then you've got the surprise. There's Billy. And the delight coupled with eye contact, laughter, joy, touch, smiles, where you're sharing a state, you're attuned, there's pleasure, there's reassurance that you've returned. The question of whether they exist is answered. The question of whether the carer and the world is going to receive them or reject them has been answered. And essentially the child stays found in the mind of the finder. And then the last stage of hide and seek is rinse and repeat, where the child will probably want to play the game over and over to make it predictable, so that they will always be found and there will always be a joyful reunion. Later on, children might want to be the finder, and that shows a sort of building of their own mastery. They might want to play with peers, where it will be more reciprocal and less egocentric. And there they might try and be clever and not be found, maybe be the last child to be found, but essentially they still will want to be found. So in this way, there's rhythms of engagement and disengagement. There's attuned responsiveness and a meeting of the need of all of us to hide sometimes and be reflective and be private, and then be discovered by someone who really wants to find us. So what happens when things have gone wrong? Winnicott, who was a British psychoanalyst and paediatrician, said, "It's a joy to be hidden, a disaster not to be found." Hide and seek is essentially a remembering of the first finding, the first joyful reception as they entered the world and experienced their own existence. But what if they weren't received in a positive way? A child may not be able to believe your pleasure in finding them. Hiding might have been a way of protecting themselves, either literally hiding or psychologically hiding behind a false self. Maybe there is a failure to progress, and they may find themselves both wanting and not wanting to be found, trapped in time because of an attachment experience that wasn't fulfilling. Then the anxious thrill and anticipation of being found might be fear-inducing, and the predicted pleasure in being found not predictable, the rhythm of it not felt in the body. Children who've learnt to expect the unexpected can't settle into expecting the expected. Or hiding may be linked with feeling shame, or body memories held implicitly. Those small spaces might be cosy or scary, and the way in which they have been found might have been aggressive or with tenderness. So in this case, hide and seek needs to be done really slowly and carefully, letting the child guide you about who's to find them, how they're going to be found, and at what pace. You allow for repetition over and over again until it becomes predictable, until the consistency and the delight of finding them becomes internalized. So I guess this it might be useful to have a think about, as an adult, like how do we hide? In what ways do we hide, like ourselves, our personalities? When do we like physically hide, roll up in our bed and sort of refuse to get out, hide ourselves in our work? Like, you know, how do we want to be found? Do we want to be found? Who do we want to be found by, and how? And for children, what are they hiding from? Who do they think's disappeared? How do they want to be found? Do they want, when do they want to be found, and by who? So those are just some thoughts to think of. So there's other ideas for hide and seek. If it is a bit too intense to play hide and seek directly, you could use puppets to create a bit of distance. You could ask the child to imagine where their friends or family might hide, in their home or school or out and about. You could hide pictures of feelings, which could prompt conversation about those, or also hide objects in the sand tray, maybe using things like magnets to sort of find them. So those are some ideas about hide and seek, and it's a good thing to start to reflect on. Thanks. Hide away. So I'm still here. I haven't been found, and I doesn't really feel that nice, actually. So I'm just going to wait for a bit and see if I get found.
I found you.
Oh, yay, I've been found.